Hey guys, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to begin by priming my face, and I'm using this NYX Angel Veil primer to do that. And guys, so don't be alarmed by the hair. I'm just doing some protective styling. No, I did not put the creamy crack back in my hair. I am not going to relax my hair, but I did need to give it a break. So I just got this little wig from the beauty supply store, and I'm loving it. I did cut some of it to just kind of shape it up and make it look how I wanted it to look, or sort of to frame my face. And yeah, so I just kind of throw this on as my little everyday wig. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyelids before I put on my foundation. So to prime my eyelids, I'm going to be using MAC's Paint Pot and Laying Low. And I'm just going to put this over my entire lid. If you're looking for an inexpensive primer that works just as good, or it works pretty well, I used to use this NYX eyeshadow base in the shade Skin Tone, and it works pretty good to me. It has about the same color as this Laying Low. I don't know if you guys can see, but anyway, it has about the same tone, or like a skin tone color as this Laying Low. NYX also has a few other different shades in their eyeshadow base, but if you're looking for a drugstore or something that's a little bit more affordable than the Paint Pot, then NYX eyeshadow base is going to be a really good way to go. So I'm just going in, and this is a BH Cosmetics brush, and it's a concealer brush, and I'm just going to apply this eyeshadow base onto my entire eyelids. Now what I'm going to do is just smooth everything out using my fingertips. I'm going to go ahead and apply my eyeshadow. So to create the eye makeup look, what I'm going to be using is some affordable palettes from BH Cosmetics. And I'm using this 26 color eyeshadow and blush palette. And I'm also going to be using the ItsMyRayeRaye palette, because this palette doesn't have any transition shades in it. And so I'm going to use the transition colors from the ItsMyRayeRaye palette. And lately, since I've been using this palette a whole lot, I already kind of know what shades I'm going to go into, because I automatically go to those for my crease area, for my transition shades. And so the first one I'm going to go in with is Pancake. It's sort of a warm tan shade, and it just works really well for my skin complexion. If you're a little bit darker than me, you may be able to start with Mousse or Control Freak. But I'm going to go in with this shade first of all to add into my crease area. So I'm going to start with the shade Pancake, and I'm using one of the ItsMyRayeRaye blending brushes to do that. And I'm just going back and forth with sweeping motions in my crease area with the shade Pancake, and I just kind of dip back in as I feel is needed to deepen up that color, or to make sure I get great color payoff with this color. So to build up the color in my crease area and add a little bit more depth, I'm going to go into the shade Mousse now, and it's just a couple of shades darker than Pancake. And I'm going in with the fluffy blending brush. I think this is just a brush that I got in one of my Ipsy subscription bags, but it's a really good blending brush. So any blending brush that you have, a small blending brush will work for the crease area. And I'm not doing anything fancy with these colors. I'm just making sure that I get them into my crease area and that they're smooth and blended well. I wanted to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better what these colors are looking like as I blend them together. And so taking that same brush, I'm going to go into the shade Control Freak. And it's about the same color. It's a little bit more warm than Mousse is, and it has a little bit of a red undertone to it, but I'm just going to use that to kind of darken up the outer V a little bit. And I'm just going in circular motions, and I'm going to sweep it inward. So now I'm going to go on to the other side and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So now I'm going to go back in with that first blending brush just to kind of smooth everything out. And so for my brow bone highlight, I'm going to go into this shade Nudist. And it's this really light color here on the end. It's a bit of a, I guess, like a cream color. And I'm going to pop that right underneath my brow bone. I typically don't do a shimmer brow bone or a shimmer highlight underneath my brow. So I'm going to go in with this matte color to just lighten it up a little bit. And I'm just using a small flat shader brush to do that. So to blend those two colors together and to make sure that there's not a harsh line, I'm going back in there with that same blending brush to kind of clean that line up there. So I'm going to come back to the RayeRaye palette in just a minute, but now I'm going to go into the 26 color blush palette. And I'm going to take this shade right here. These shades are not listed. They don't have names beside them. So if you have this 26 color palette, it's on the second row, it's the third color in, and it's this sort of light rosy pink color, and I'm going to pop that onto my lid. So to put this color on my lid, I'm going to be using a BH Cosmetics brush, and this is a flat, it's a wider concealer brush, and this is a flat shader brush. And so what I like to do is I go in and pack the color on with the flat brush, and then to kind of smooth it out some, I'll go in and add more of the color using the short shader brush. So because this is a neutral eye makeup look and it's daytime wearable, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and clean up the crease area and make sure that there are no harsh lines. And I'm going to add an inner corner highlight, and then I'll move on to the rest of my face. And I'm also still just using that same blending brush that I began with to work on my crease area, to just clean it up some. So I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth between the two palettes. And now I'm going to go into this shade Allison, and it's an eyeshadow, and I'm going to use this to add to my inner corner on my eyes. And to add this into my inner corner, I have this very small detailed brush. So I'm going to go in and add my foundation now, but before I do, you guys can see I have some little red spots on my face. Well, in particularly this area right here, this red. I'm just going to use some color corrector to kind of add on this one spot. And green tends to cancel out the red. And this is another NYX product. As you guys can tell, I like NYX products. And so I'm going to go into this color corrector palette, and I'm going to use this green shade right here. I'm going to pop that over that little spot to kind of cancel out that redness before I put on my foundation. So for foundation today, I'm going to go in with this Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. I'm in the shade number 330, which is Caramel Toffee. And this has become one of my favorite kind of everyday foundations. My other favorite happens to be the Fenty Beauty foundation. And I use this in the shade 570, I believe. The Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless has more of a natural skin-like look. Once I put it on, it actually looks a lot like skin to me. And it's very lightweight. I happen to actually love this foundation. So if you're looking for a good drugstore foundation, the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation would be a great choice for you if you're an oily person. And I think that they have another one that's called, it has a dewy finish. So if you're not an oily person, the dewy one may work a little bit better for you. But if you're oily, this matte and poreless foundation works really, really well on my skin. And like I said, I enjoy the fact that it looks really natural, and it keeps my skin very breathable. And for about, I believe this was $8. For $8, you really can't beat it. So I'm going to go in and add this onto my entire face. And I'm going to be using this brush. It's a flat top kabuki brush. I'm going to use that to apply this foundation. I just like the flat top brush because I think it makes the foundation go on very smoothly. And this is also a BH Cosmetics brush. I just happen to like BH Cosmetics brushes because BH Cosmetics is doing their thing right now. So I usually apply just about that much on my face. I tend to like my skin to look like skin. So, you know, my skin but better, and about this amount works. If you need more of a full coverage, you can kind of build this one up without it looking cakey. So you would just add more. So next I'm going to go in with my Nice Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I'm using the shade Biscuit to do that. I really like this concealer, mainly because it gives a really good coverage. You can build this coverage up with this particular concealer. The undertone for this concealer works really well with my skin tone. I feel like I have a little bit more of yellow in my skin, so sometimes it's hard to find concealers that are not too pale undertoned, not too they don't have a lot of olive in them, or that they're not too red. And so these have more of a yellow undertone, and I really appreciate that because, like I said, it kind of works really well for my skin. So I'm just going to apply this to the areas that I want to highlight. I'm going to go underneath my eyes. I'm going to go right in this area, down the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, and right on my chin. I'm going to leave it sitting there for a few minutes, and I'm going to go in and fill in my brows. So to fill in my brows, I'm going to use a NYX eyebrow pencil, and this is their micro brow, and I'm using the shade Espresso to do that. So I'm going to fill my brows in, and I'll be right back. So I've already done my brows, and before I set them, I like to set my entire face, and I just set those using a brow gel. And so to set my face, I'm going to be going in using this Sacha Buttercup powder. I think you can purchase this Sacha Buttercup powder for, it's probably about $20. And really, you can just Google it, and many different sites sell this powder. It's a really, really, really good setting powder for your under eye concealer. This setting powder is really good, and it doesn't leave flashbacks. So it's very finely milled, and so I don't get a lot of cakiness on my face, and it just really sets my under eye concealer very well. So I blended out my concealer using a damp beauty blender sponge. This is a Real Technique sponge. Some people use different kinds of brushes to blend out their concealer. I just find that using a damp beauty blender works well for me, just because when it's damp, it doesn't pick up as much product. It actually just smooths it out very nice. And so I actually go in with this, and I dip it into the setting powder to set my highlighted areas, and then I go in with a face sponge to set the rest of my face. So I'm going to go in with this Sacha Buttercup setting powder, and I just get some onto the beauty blender about like this, and I just take it into those areas where I have highlighted to set, and I just kind of press it into my face like this. So once I'm done setting my under eye area and my highlighted areas, I like to just leave the powder there for a few minutes to bake, and then I go in and set the rest of my face. So to set my face, I'm going to go in using this Mercier Transluscent setting powder. This is also one of my favorite setting powders for the face. I have yet to purchase it full size. I just go to Sephora and purchase this sample, or this travel size, and I think it's about $14. But it's really, really, really good in terms of setting the face, being nice and smooth, especially for someone about my skin tone, and you won't get a lot of flashback from it. But she does have a darker powder for someone who has a deeper skin tone that you may want to check out. But NYX also has some HD setting powders. I believe they run for about $15. And they also have a translucent one, and they have a darker shade as well. So I'm just going to go in with this sponge and I just tap into the powder and then I apply that to my face. So now that I'm done setting my face, I'm just going to go in with a flat brush and I'm just going to sweep away the excess powder from underneath my eyes. And then I'm going to go in with this Rimmel. It's a clear brow gel to set my brows in place. So to kind of level out my eye makeup look and to make the top mirror the bottom, what I'm going to do is just actually go into that shade Mousse and Control Freak, and I'm just using this pencil brush and I'm just going to go right on the very edge of the outer corner under eye and just add color there. Now I'm just going to line my waterline and I'm using this Rimmel Exaggerate waterproof eye definer and it's in the shade black, and so I'm going to line my waterline and I'm going to go in and add some mascara and I'll be right back. So the last thing I'm going to do is bronze and highlight, and then I'm going to go in and add some lips to finish off the look. So to go into bronze, I'm going to be using this Ruby Kiss mineral powder and it's in the shade Honey Brown, and I actually got this from my YouTube twin is what I call her. Her name is Missy Lynn here on YouTube. And I don't call her my twin because we look a whole lot alike. It's just that we have about the same skin tone. And so pretty much every product that she puts on her face, like facial wise, we match exactly in color. And so I got this from her and she uses this powder to bronze sometimes. And so I saw this at the beauty supply store and I was like, hey, let me try it out. So anyway, I'm going to go in and bronze with this ItsMyRayeRaye brush. This is a Taper bronzing and contour brush. It's the number 3 brush if you have this set, and it came with the ItsMyRayeRaye brush set. And so I'm going to use this to go ahead and contour or bronze. So that Ruby Kiss is a really beautiful and soft color, so you may want to check that out if you're looking for a bronzer or something to contour with. It's a little bit warm, so it will mostly come off as bronzer more so than contour, but it gets the job done in terms of adding depth back to your face after you put on your foundation. So I forgot to mention I was going to go ahead and add some blush. And I'm also going to be using one of the ItsMyRayeRaye brushes, and this is the number 2 brush, which is considered to be her blush brush. I'm going to go back into this eyeshadow and blush palette, and I'm going to go into this shade right here to add blush. And so now I'm going back into the ItsMyRayeRaye palette, and I'm going to use the shade Radiant right here to add highlighter to the highest points of my cheek, and just to kind of highlight my face. And so I'm going to go in with her highlighter brush, and this is the number 4 brush, and I'm going to go in and highlight with that now. And so to finish off the look, I'm going to go in with this NYX pencil in the shade Nutmeg to line my lips. And I'm going to be going in with this Jordana Modern Matte Lipstick. And it's a really pretty sort of nude brown color. It's in the shade number 3 or Matte Frappuccino. So although this is a matte lip, I'm feeling like I want a little bit of gloss. So I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty Universal Gloss Bomb, and I'm just going to top it with a little bit of that. And so guys, that's it for the finished makeup look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date with what's happening here on this channel. And until next time guys, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!